I'm fully prepared with everything I need for the Jay-Z documentary. The moment he sent that legal letter, I knew I had to let the world see who he really is. He and Diddy are cut from the same cloth. He just hides his arrogance and control behind a cleaner image. Our feud has lasted 20 years, and I know better than anyone what he's done in the shadows. I even suspect that so-called funeral bouquet wasn't Diddy's idea at all, but Jay-Z acting on his behalf. Back when Nicki Minaj posted that video of him wearing a pink wig, all I did was repost it, and he got so nervous he had his lawyers threaten me. In 2015, Nicki worked her ass off helping him build his platform, and he allegedly pocketed her $7.9 million in royalties. And then there's his fingerprints all over key incidents through the years, whether it's the elevator footage or the guest list at Diddy's parties. He was involved, clearly, but somehow he always walks away untouched. That's what he's best at, pulling strings behind the scenes while pretending to be spotless in public. And now that a corner of the darkness has been ripped open, I'm not stopping. Everything my team and I are doing isn't about attacking anyone. It's about making sure the truth can't be buried by him ever again.
He ain't answering the phone? He ain't answering the motherfucking phone. Yeah, it was like this, like
we had a black billionaire's lunch.
Black excellence, they're sitting there like, yeah. It's a billionaire brunch.
Oh,
Like,
I hate you, man.
And we here together, and we gonna keep staying together. We getting tighter.
unaware of anything going on here. This is the one time I'm gonna be with you this year. Yo, I feel like I'm normal again. Get me out of here.
Jay-Z is undergoing scrutiny as reports claim alleged private exchanges between him and Diddy have surfaced in the public arena, igniting intense online reaction. The developments have pulled Jay-Z into an unforgiving spotlight, reviving long-standing questions about his ties to Diddy and controversies many believe were long resolved. As these claims spread, familiar narratives are resurfacing, fueling debate and escalating pressure. What's unfolding now is a high-stakes moment, one that could challenge Jay-Z's reputation and influence more than ever before.
Sean Carter aided and abetted or was directly involved. It's about to get real tense, and there's a lot of girls and boys who are still...
In past interviews, 50 Cent has stressed that he intentionally kept his distance from Diddy's inner circle, saying certain invitations and environments immediately raised red flags and led him to draw firm boundaries early on. That deliberate separation, he explains, is what allows him to speak openly now without restraint. When later allegations surfaced, 50 maintained that he learned about them the same way the public did, through media reports. And while the accusations were serious, he made clear they didn't surprise him, only reinforcing his long-held decision to stay far removed from that world.
War Wright explained that Jay-Z is worse than Diddy. She explained how Jay-Z has done worse things than what Diddy did to Cassie to other females. And she said that she has the scars to prove it. She alleged that at one time Jay-Z attacked her and got it on film like Diddy did. And she alleged that this is why Jay-Z is totally pulling away from Diddy and you don't see him around. And it's been alleged for quite a while that Jay-Z is pulling away from Diddy because he doesn't want himself caught in the crossfire. I mean, you even have 50 Cent at this point talking about how Jay-Z is in hiding while this whole Diddy thing blows over. And you even have these accusations of Jay-Z being responsible for what happened to Cassie White. So I'm going to go ahead and roll you guys this clip of everything that Jag had to say about Jay-Z being worse than Diddy. And you guys let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments.
Sean Carter is just as bad as the diddler. And I know that for a fact. I got the scars to prove it. You want to know what a box cutter feels like going into your skin and ripping you? I can tell you how it feels. Y'all ain't seen shit yet. That Cassie shit, that's nothing. So I'm saying Sean Carter remembers everything he did to me and he's got it on tape. Just like Diddy. And they're going to be crazy. It's going to be the women that get them in the end.
As the investigation widened, attention gradually turned toward Jay-Z, with critics questioning his silence as developments surrounding Diddy continued to unfold. That measured restraint only fueled public curiosity, sparking speculation that his team was bracing for possible reputational fallout and working to stay ahead of the narrative. Even in the absence of formal action, concern grew that the impact was already taking hold. Meanwhile, social media intensified the pressure, amplifying rumors, hardening assumptions, and transforming uncertainty into a fast-moving force that made the consequences feel immediate and unavoidable.
Exactly what Jay-Z's accuser is saying, that even though she dropped the lawsuit, she still stands by what she says, and she only dropped it because of harassment and the fact that she's terrified of Jay-Z. She says that Jay-Z is allegedly bullying her into saying that her accusations were false. In fact, in new legal documents, she is claiming that she was recently approached outside of her home and cornered by two people who told her they were investigators working for one of Jay-Z's lawyers. She claims they tried to get her to sign an affidavit stating that her claims against Jay-Z were false, but she refused. Jane Doe also claims the alleged investigators asked her if her attorney, Tony Busby, sought her out as a client and offered her money to pursue false claims against Jay-Z, two allegations she says she denied. He says this alleged confrontation left her intimidated and terrified, wondering how they found her when her identity had remained anonymous in media reports and legal proceedings. He also claims that her parents were approached by two investigators asking similar questions about Busby and her story. In the new documents, she reveals she decided to drop the claim because she was frightened by the reaction from Jay-Z and his supporters. He says she feared she would be publicly outed and subjected to...
Industry insiders have cautioned that even a single serious investigation could send shockwaves far beyond Diddy himself, potentially affecting anyone perceived as closely connected to him. That risk is why many believe 50 Cent's documentary carries significant weight. Rather than focusing on one individual, it frames the situation as a broader examination of behind-the-scenes power dynamics, how influence operated, who may have been aware of certain issues, and how accountability can widen once scrutiny takes hold. Observers have also questioned how Diddy remained insulated for so long, with some pointing to a network of powerful relationships and carefully managed messaging as rumors continue to circulate. As speculation intensified, unconfirmed reports began suggesting that Diddy may be engaging with authorities in an effort to strengthen his position, a move that, if true, could involve sharing information about others in his orbit, sending fresh waves of unease through the industry.
But the only thing I'm interested in him talking about is everything he knows about Kathy Coriana White. See, I know you know what happened to Corey. Diddy, I know that. You and Jay-Z. Down in Vegas at Tao with Claudia. Why don't you just talk about Kathy? That might help. That might help a lot. Kathy Coriana White, Jay-Z's pregnant mistress, who died 24 hours after she announced that she was going public with their relationship and the baby. While he was married to Beyonce. Was it an aneurysm, Diddy? Or are you the one who paid the same coroner that you...
Some critics have argued that the most pressing questions remain unaddressed, pointing to past figures and events they believe deserve closer scrutiny. Among the names repeatedly raised is Kathy Coriana White, a woman they describe as having been connected to Jay-Z and whose death occurred shortly after she allegedly planned to speak publicly. Online commentators have questioned the circumstances surrounding her passing, disputing official explanations and calling for greater transparency. These claims, unproven and widely debated, have circulated alongside renewed discussion of other individuals linked to the same circles, including Cassie, and events said to have taken place during trips involving multiple high-profile figures. Supporters of further investigation argue that openly addressing these long-standing rumors could help clarify what is fact, what is speculation, and why certain questions continue to resurface years later.
Close was Diddy and Jay-Z. They was close enough that they wasn't playing basketball, they wasn't playing baseball, they wasn't playing football, and they wasn't playing hockey or soccer for Diddy to come on stage, pat him on his ass, and then make the statement to people in the world that can't nobody call me Sean but Jay-Z. Now, I don't know what kind of statement, and I can't say, I wish I could say half a homo, but I know I can't say it, but I don't know what kind of half a homo that is, and you trying to say that you're not close to somebody. You coming on stage, patting them on their ass, and then you making a broad statement to the public, can't nobody call me Sean but Sean Carter. And I heard Jay-Z said the same thing about them. But they were so close that they had matching white girls together. Because when they used to see each other, they used to say, yo, how your skinny white girl doing? He'd be like, yo, how your skinny white girl doing? So I guess that's a certain type of closeness.
I ain't know anything about that, man. I ain't know about, Jay touching his, so I got to go see the video. I ain't hear about that.
Come on, man. Everybody's seen that. 50 even pointed it out. Excuse me. When they was in ATL on stage. Remember when 50 bum rushed the stage with them?
Yeah, I think I recall that.
When Puff came on stage, first thing he did was pat Jay-Z on that. But I forgot. That's your favorite rapper.
Hey, him and Pocket's 1A, 1B. But what's your issue with Jay, man? I didn't know you had an issue with him.
With the documentary now officially released, it's clear this story isn't confined to the past. It's actively shaping what comes next. Each new revelation places sharper focus on those who remain silent, and Jay-Z is increasingly drawn into that discussion. The scrutiny carries particular weight given his decades-long history with Diddy, making claims of complete distance harder for critics to accept. That tension escalated when Gene Deal publicly challenged statements from Jay-Z's legal team that characterized the relationship as minimal, arguing those claims didn't align with what many insiders say they witnessed over the years. As voices grow louder and timelines are re-examined, pressure continues to build, turning once muted associations into unresolved questions that refuse to fade.
They'll cause situations and cause problems, and then they'll forget what they done because they on a whole nother atmosphere. You know what I'm saying? A lot of shit that he did, you got to understand, like now he'll say that they're kids because he's raising kids of his own. You understand? But how would you like it that if Blue Ivory, 15, 16 years old, 17, 18 years old, dating a nigga in his early 30s? You're not going to go for that. No matter what she came through in Hollywood. But you got to understand, guys who was around there, we didn't know Jay-Z them ages. We didn't know these cats' age. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't having no beards and nothing like that. They was wearing low cuts. You understand? Clean face. I would have never believed when Jay was coming around the block, scooping up the young girls and stuff like that he was 30 years old. If they 17, 18, 16 years old and they 22, you thinking they 22, 23, something like that, 24 years old? They mama and them need to check them. They daddy and them need to check them. But that's not that far off. But for somebody to be 30 years old in their 30s and they dealing with kids 16 years old, 17, 18 years. Now that's a problem. That's an issue. And now he see that because he's raising kids. And he got a young daughter. I think he got another daughter that he didn't claim, and now he claiming them. These cats was doing a whole lot of stuff that people in the industry won't speak on. And then now that you're speaking on it and it's becoming where is that you can get on YouTube and you could talk about this and say what you seen or say what you heard, you understand, or what you know. Some people look at it being a problem. But these cats ain't street cats.
The ease and familiarity between Jay-Z and Diddy, Gene Deal argues, spoke louder than words and suggested a bond that ran deeper than has been publicly acknowledged. He often points to a moment at a show in Atlanta where Diddy invited Jay-Z on stage and their effortless rapport was impossible for fans to overlook. That clip later resurfaced and gained renewed traction after 50 Cent highlighted it, keeping the moment in circulation online. When questioned about whether his comments were driven by personal resentment, Gene dismissed the notion, insisting it wasn't about loyalty or bias. He referenced a past disagreement in which tensions briefly surfaced, only for Jay-Z to seemingly move past it without hesitation. Gene described this as typical behavior among those at the highest levels, individuals who navigate intense situations, generate friction, and then continue forward unaffected, operating within a world far removed from everyday experience.
And, getting looked at in that way by white people, like Jay does, yeah, like I hope that shit didn't happen, but I'm like, damn, they turned the world real, like people on a certain level have been fucking with him a certain way where he couldn't do no wrong for like 25 years straight. This is the first time he's not getting a pass with white media, like he can control black media because a lot of them either work or do business with him, but like, Green Champs can't get him out of this one, and neither can Charlemagne, because, those are the guys that hold him down no matter what he does anyway. So he got to get to People Magazine and Entertainment Tonight right now because they on his head. But the question is why? Like, why now? Because for me, I'd be like, yo, that's so ridiculous. Yo, take that to trial. She's not going to win. Let's get a deposition or something. So I don't know why they on his head so much, pause. But I never seen him, under this, I never seen him in this position to have to explain himself. Pause.
How you feel about the statement he came out with?
I mean, I didn't hear him say anything. I heard a piece of, like I said, I'm doing an interview, so I talk. I thought it was long. For a statement, I thought it was long, pause. But, I think right now, his silence is the worst thing for him. If he is innocent, he needs to let people ask him questions, and he needs to be able to say his side of the
Dame Dash, once considered Jay-Z's closest collaborator, recently weighed in on the serious claims now surrounding him, stressing that what stands out most is not only the allegations themselves, but the intensity of the public reaction. He remarked that in all his years, he had never seen Jay-Z subjected to this level of scrutiny, knowing that decades of influence had long positioned him as nearly untouchable, particularly within mainstream media. Dame suggested that perception may now be shifting, with long-standing layers of protection beginning to crack and Jay-Z facing a degree of public examination rarely directed at figures of his stature. For many observers, the moment serves as a stark reminder that even the most powerful names are not immune once the spotlight fully turns toward them.
Like I don't think I would have said that he didn't know Puff at all or wasn't his friend. I thought that was a little extreme. I thought that was the wrong choice of words. I think that's going to trigger a lot of backlash. But the thing is, I never seen him get backlash at all. So that's what I'm saying. Now he getting backlash. Like, when did you know Jay-Z to be on his heels other than when he got beat up in the elevator? But that was nothing. But I've never seen him under the fire ever. Not in a long time. Not like, I've never seen him get I've never seen people on his head like that, Paul. Ever.
Yeah, this might be my first time seeing people come at him like this.
Like I said, I didn't hear him say anything. Like, I'm not some white man speaking for another black man doesn't add up. It just doesn't work like that. Like, he doesn't know what to say on Jay's behalf. Jay would have to say that. So if he instructed him to say that, like, you don't even know if Jay told him to say that. He could have got off the stage and they was like, why'd you say that? He was like, I had to. You know, like, he probably said it because homeboy wouldn't. You know what I'm saying? So who knows? Like, I didn't hear him say anything. I haven't heard Jay say a word yet. Have you?
Nah, I haven't heard him say anything.
There it is. So y'all going by a piece of paper with words, don't get caught up in that. I have not heard him say one thing yet. You know? Until I see him speak, he hasn't spoke to me. That's why I said I don't think he did not say that. His lawyer said it. So what else is the lawyer gonna?
What struck Dame most was seeing Jay-Z in an unfamiliar position, guarded, reactive, and under sustained pressure, a reality rarely witnessed outside a handful of moments across his career. For decades, Jay-Z has largely avoided the need to publicly explain himself, making the current intensity of scrutiny especially notable. At the same time, questions continue to surface about why 50 Cent appears so persistent in challenging him, with the Diddy association alone failing to fully explain the tension. Tony Yayo offered broader context, suggesting the friction between 50 and Jay-Z stretches back years, shaped by rivalry and fractured loyalties. Hip-hop, he noted, has always thrived on competition. Egos clash, disputes emerge, yet growth remains possible. Yayo pointed to a recent moment where 50 shared the stage with Dr. Dre alongside Cameron, signaling that old issues can be set aside. Cameron himself has remarked that Jay-Z prioritizes business over culture, a perspective Yayo echoed, observing that Jay-Z is frequently present at high-level corporate gatherings while often absent from hip-hop moments that carry deep meaning for artists like 50. That perceived imbalance continues to raise questions about priorities, alignment, and where loyalty ultimately lies.
There was this one part where 50 was talking, and he was saying, yeah, when Yayo was locked up, every G-Unit show, we actually put aside the money.
Bro, I told
for him,
you.
And he had he's like, Yayo had like $1 million.
Right. I just told you when I came out of my building, I see the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
There was no way I was getting shot there. And this is what I kind of tell you is like, when we was talking about stacks with the Porsche, 50's not going to let you say, get the Porsche. He going to say, let's get him out the hood first. You know, if the money's there, but the money has to be there for you to live like that. The money's there. 50 didn't have to do that. Rest in peace to Hervé from Interscope, because he always said to me, man, 50 do more for you than any artist, than anybody does for their artists, more than Jay-Z.
Tony Yayo highlighted a defining contrast between Jay-Z and 50 Cent, accessibility versus distance. He explained that while Jay-Z operates at the highest levels of influence, he maintains a deliberate separation from those spaces below. In contrast, 50, despite holding comparable power, remains visible, engaged, and loyal to the people who supported his rise. Yayo stressed that success should never erase one's foundation, a principle he believes 50 continues to live by. One moment that stayed with him involved the Super Bowl halftime show, where reports suggested Jay-Z initially resisted including 50 Cent. According to Yayo, it was only after Eminem made it clear he would not perform without him that the situation changed. To Yayo, that moment went beyond logistics or branding. It felt personal, revealing a long-standing tension and quiet rivalry that still shapes the complicated dynamic between two of hip-hop's most powerful figures.
Statement recently, he said that Jay-Z loves money more than hip-hop. And he pointed out that Jay-Z performed at Tom Brady's Hall of Fame ceremony, but he didn't perform in any Hip-Hop 50 events.
I mean, Jay-Z's on a whole nother level. Like, I mean, you know, he's like, but you know what I like about 50? 50's on a whole nother level, but he's still approachable. You still get to meet the people and you know, Jay got to remember the people that made him. You know, I'm not saying I don't got respect. I respect Jay-Z, 50, used to respect, you know, Diddy, but all that crazy shit going on. But, I always respected him because I looked at, for New York, those were like the guys. You know what I'm saying? The guys with the most money and the most influence. So with Jay is like, when the last time you haven't seen Jay. So I think people are just going to say that. You know what I'm saying? But for me, I mean, Jay, you got to remember, he didn't want 50 at the Super Bowl. That was crazy. I'm like,
wait, Jay didn't want 50 at the Super
you didn't
Bowl?
know that? Yeah, he didn't want.
I remember Eminem pushed for it.
That was some hater shit. Yeah,
I remember Eminem was like, I'm not going to do it unless 50 does it. I heard that.
Yeah,
but I didn't know that Jay was trying to stop it.
I don't think Jay. I don't know. 50 never told me that, but I don't think Jay wanted him there. I don't know
because of what some of the.
I mean,
back and forth,
it's competition. You got to think 50 always been competition for Jay. Remember, I'm about $1. What the fuck is 50 Cent?
That was a long time ago.
That was what 9. What was that? 9?
But after that, they did a song together. Remember the whole.
Of course, but 50 was always competition for niggas. Then remember Jay said, yo, 50's coming. He told Siegel and them, and Memphis Bleak and all them.
Yeah.
And come on, 50's like, he's on a whole nother level. You got to remember, he came after niggas. He came after Jay and Rockefeller. G-Unit came. And people might shit on G-Unit, but with Eminem, Dr. Dre, 50 Cent.
Over time, reports indicate that the once solid connection between Jay-Z and Diddy began to show signs of strain, with insiders citing growing trust issues and uncertainty over where loyalties might lie if circumstances turned unfavorable. As pressure mounted, speculation emerged about behind-the-scenes maneuvering, including public claims from Jaguar Wright alleging Jay-Z played a role in Diddy's alleged downturn, assertions that remain unproven and widely debated. Regardless of their validity, the situation underscores how quickly relationships can shift at the highest levels of influence, where alliances are often conditional, loyalty is fragile, and power dynamics can change without warning.
He goes into boardrooms and says to people, which I will never say, is he says, it's important for me to be a billionaire, because Black people need to be billionaires. And why does specifically he, at that time, I've had this conversation with white money people when they go, it's important that Jay-Z becomes a billionaire. And I go, why? And they said, because he wants to open up a casino. He wants to open up this. He should have an alcoholic brand. He needs to have a casino. He needs to have this. And you're like, why the fuck does anybody need a casino? Like another fucking casino
money
in this world.
And it makes it very possible for people to launder money all day.
Yeah. So like, why, even the fact that you want to become so powerful, then you're not saying because he needs to build schools for Black people in Black neighborhoods. It's because he wanted to build casinos for Black people.
For them to keep wasting their money and then for him to keep getting them overpriced merchandise. It's a rat trap.
Yeah.
All of it is. The sad part is that hip hop has now turned itself over to this greed machine and doesn't realize it's time.
Roger Bonds, Diddy's former head of security, offered an insider perspective that added another layer to the narrative. He noted that while he observed Jay-Z and Diddy crossing paths and interacting, he never considered their relationship genuinely close. From his vantage point, Diddy seemed to believe the bond ran deeper than it actually did, highlighting a disconnect between perception and reality. Bond's observations illustrate how, at the highest levels, public appearances and assumed alliances can create illusions that don't always reflect what's truly happening behind the scenes.
Why now? Why?
Because he's the acceptable monster at this time, like R. Kelly was the last time I sat on this couch.
So who's next?
Y'all don't see the lineup?
Yeah, we see the lineup. I'm just waiting to see who's next.
Jay-Z is setting Diddy up. Why is everyone having such a hard time? He ain't doing shit different. He lined up D. Haven, stole his life and identity. He lined up Big L, stole his life and identity. He lined up Dame Dash, stole his life, identity, and took his love. Lined up R. Kelly. He wants to be the one.
Yeah, shout out D Haven. He actually hit us up, wanted to tell this story.
You need to talk to D Haven.
Yeah, we need to talk to him.
I told you that last year.
From his perspective, Jay-Z and Diddy were never the close allies many assumed them to be. While they operated in the same elite circles and shared access to influence and opportunity, true loyalty was never fully there. Over time, those cracks became increasingly impossible to ignore.